follow the rules of algebra. Life works fine. All right. What is surface area?
Area of the surface.
Yeah, exactly. We've gotten used to doing flat things, and then we threw cones into things. Hang on. Found the sphere. All right. So there's a couple occasions where you might want to know how to figure out the surface area of a sphere. Possibly, not a guarantee. Ha! Why would you want to know the surface area of a sphere? Any thoughts? When do you often have to know surface area? Big deal is painting. So if you have to paint a big ball, we're a bunch of little ones. Can I have my spike ball back? All right.
Why would you need to paint? Why don't they just throw them in a factory paint the paint?
Yeah, but say you had to paint a bunch of ball bearings.
How would you paint the
I'm just grabbing.
For slingshot ammo. Non-rusting slingshot ammo.
When you're new.
Yeah, that's good.
If
You
I
just drop
ever
it
use
in there.
this, it's never gonna happen.
Okay. Well, I've been surprised at the times that you need to know things.
Dad
So,
always just buys paint if he needs more than buy some more.
Well, the thing is, if you know how much you need, sometimes it'll actually save you a trip. So on a bucket of paint, and this is a very interesting thing, it says what the coverage is. On a like 1 gallon bucket of paint, usually it says 3 coats, it'll cover 240 square feet or something like that. You know, it can fluctuate from 180 to wherever, and you can fit it out and do what you need to do. But usually they give you kind of an estimate on how many square feet it'll cover. So that's one of the reasons that you might someday have to know how to do this. So they are starting with some things, and we're going to do the formula is simple as hum. It is just surface area equals 4 pi r squared. Yes. So it's simply the circle, for the area of a circle, and you just multiply by 4, which is really interesting. It's kind of interesting to think that the surface area of a sphere is actually only 4 times the surface area of a circle. It's a flat circle the same size. Actually, I 100% know why that works. But I'm going to talk about that later. After I find the ball, I can cut it into 4 equal pieces. Anyway,
I don't even know.
I just thought of why that works, and I'm so understood about it, so I'm going to talk about it in a minute.
Because it will make a triangle.
No, you get 4 pieces that look like this. You know, like the middle of the ball was here. You get 4 pieces like that, peeling orange over it. Wrap it around there, 4 times. And those are all just exactly perfect. So this is 1/4 of the circumference. Anyway, moving on. That's why we're going to talk about later. All right, so let's say this ball right here. We want to paint, I don't know, 100 of these. So we need to know, how to figure that out. Chris. So we're going to say that's a 5-inch ball. So it's 5 inch in diameter, the whole way across. Figure that out for me. Come up here and write down the equation. Don't solve it, just write down the equation with the number substituted.
Like you want that number substituted.
like, just write this in, just substitute the right numbers in here. Are you with this or no?
Yeah.
Cool.
You want me to figure it out?
No. Cody can figure it out. Ooh. Hang on. What's going on here? What's that? Oh, radius. Radius squared. All right, come on up here and fix it for me, please.
I don't even know.
All right, perfect. Now we just need some numbers punched into a calculator, but I am way too lazy to do that myself. All right, so what?
Don't we have to leave?
Well, I have one in my pocket, but I don't feel like using it. All right, what's 4 times pi, Richard?
12.70. That was a good guess.
You can do 12.56 times 6 1/4 though.
$79.5.
All right, so you write out surface area equals 79 point what?
0.5.
0.5 inches, which? Square or cube? Leah? Square, right? Surface area in square inches. So this is your answer. 79.5 square inches. Yes. All right.
Actually, it was 78.
Oh, 78? You got good ears. Just not very.
I said 79 for this one. You got your head up there and you're checking my math. Hey, if you get things wrong, you'll never know.
Well, I have an answer to you for some things. All right. So, write down your formula and substitute on the first one there on page 1. And we'll check that one right away, just for the fun of it.
So what was the formula?
Formula is up there, up on the top of the page.
Wait a minute. Back.
You could. Or actually, it's over on page 48 as well. Or it's up on the board. There's 6 or 12 different places. You actually probably have to, I think you have to memorize this one. All it is just 4 times the, if you remember that, it's just 4 times the surface area of a circle. That's all it is. Alright. Remember to have your formula down, because that is worth a point. And what are your answers? Oh, he is not done yet. Leah, what's your answer? 452.16 centimeters squared. You are correct. I feel like a game show host, okay? All I need is a tacky, shiny suit and an orange tie.
And thousands of dollars in prizes.
Yes, that's a good idea. I don't give any of it to you. I keep it all for me.
It's that idea.
I can give you an old gift card. Could use a gift card. Good. All right. Let's go on to the next page.
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
Okay, I need help on number 5.
Number 3 is kind of lame.
Number 3 is easy.
I didn't
Hang on,
see it.
first things first.
No,
Isn't, I think there's one that looks like this. X to the 7th divided by x.
easy peasy, easy squeezy.
You're right. But what does that stand for?
7 minus 1.
7 minus 1, right? Leah,
What?
pay attention. You with us over here? Alright. So, if there's nothing behind that, which means that has an exponent of 1. So 7 minus 1, which is x to the 6th power. Perfect. Oh, number 3. Percentages. You need a proportion for this. Yes,
I
you
did.
do.
I didn't.
Well, you need one.
It looks really easy, actually.
Good.
I
So,
don't know how to use a proportion in that situation.
alright. Well, we'll just figure this out. So, what a jackwagon. Next person, though. A random dude paid $4,000 when the materials were delivered, then refused to finish paying when the job was
He
complete.
sounds like a real jerk.
Yeah, he's not a
I
nice
have no
guy.
intention of paying you. You're gonna have to sue me. What's
It's so stupid.
Alright. So basically what we have to figure out
His brain cells.
is what percent did he still owe? So that's the first question, is how much did he still owe to people?
2,000.
500 and no, 605.
2,650. So then it's just, after that, it's just a percent. So total bill, basically it's an is over of thing,
The
right?
total bill would be 6,650.
So of is the total, so 6,600 and what? So that's the total, and then the percentage that he still owed is 2,650, is that correct? So it just is over of equals percent over 100.
Okay, can we go to 5?
Number was simple.
$1,200 square feet of landscape fabric. All right. So the question here is, let me write out like this. Question is cost per 10 square feet. Does that help?
Cost per 10 square. That does not help at all.
All right. So here's the deal. There's a couple ways to do this.
So 149 cents divided by 10.
No. So they have 1,200 square feet of fabric to start with, all right? So here again, it's a proportion thing. Everybody's got this proportion.
I didn't know you could buy that much fabric.
Oh yeah, that's actually not that much.
Um,
All right. So the question here is cost per foot originally, correct? So, I have to set it that way. So they start out here with 1,200 feet at what, $149.99? So this is the first setup, which is cost per foot.
So you go, you have to have a proportion for this.
Yes. So what we do in this situation is we just go 10 over here and solve it. Just make sure that your feet are on the top and your price is on the bottom, or vice versa, it doesn't matter, and you can solve this. As long as your feet, the question simply is in a proportion setup.
So basically you go 10 times like, the 149.99 divided by.
Right. No, it's not a big deal. All it is, see, the reason proportions are cool for this is because they take all the guess and thought work out of it. I'm a big fan of proportions, especially when you're doing a situation like this and you're trying to figure out how much to bill a customer for 10 square feet. Because obviously 10 square feet isn't free.
So $1.25.
Yeah.
Is that what everybody got?
I'm working on three.
You're working on 3?
I can move to.
That's all right. My encouragement is just to write down your proportion here to start with for 5, and that should be not a good. But yes, that's good. All right. Yeah, for 17, there's also a proportion with the cubic inches to gallons. So there again, you just go 1 gallon is 231 cubic inches. Remember to keep inches on the bottom if you're doing it that way, or if you have it split around, it doesn't matter. As long as the inches are always across from each other and the gallons are always across from each other. You can't go flip-flopping. That's how proportion would work. All right. I will leave you to your own resources. Algebra. We're going to just check this in class. Oh, we checked that already? I didn't look at it. Oh, obviously. It's not good for bad. Let's start with that. Let me check something, but I couldn't remember what. All right. And that'll be okay. Yeah, so it's 96. Okay. Cool. Mean, median, and mode. All right. 3 terms, which you should be familiar with, as we established before. The mean of a list of numbers is simply the, you see? What is the mean? So we have how would we find the mean of this list of numbers? Right. So mean simply is average, all right? And correct. So you just add them all together. You go 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. You add them all together, then you divide them by the amount of numbers there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. So you add all these numbers together and divide by 7. All right. So why don't we just do that here while we're in the neighborhood? 3 plus 6 is 9, 9 plus 7 is 16, 16 plus 8 is 24, 34, and 40. 46, 53. So we go 46 divided by 7, and that's how we find our average. Yeah, it's going to obviously be less than 7, like 6.8 or something like that. And then you would wind up rounding it often in these situations. I would round this to 7. So it's going to almost equal 7. So that's mean. The median is you just have them all arranged in order, right? Like I do. I have them arranged in numerical order, 1, 2, so on and so forth. There's a middle number. This is the median, all right? And that's this number right here. The median, sometimes, if we'll talk about the median age of a room, right? So the median age of our room, because we have so many people that are very similar in age, the median age of our room winds up being, I guess it would be, what, 13? 14, I guess.
The most people?
No, the median. Because we have so many people that are all the same age. In the middle age, we put all our ages together, so we have, I'm trying to think who owns what age. I don't know. I can't remember what age.
13, 14, and 15.
13, 14, and 15? So we have, how many 13-year-olds? 4 13-year-olds.
So, yeah, it would be.
And then we have 2 14-year-olds,
No,
1 14-year-old, and 2 15s. So the median age of our room is the middle list of this number is 13. Our median age is 13. All right? The median age of a larger group, like a church, the median age, who knows what that would be? Hopefully somewhere in the middle, but not necessarily. Like our church, so it would actually probably tend toward the younger people, I'm guessing. Because there's so many little ankle biters looking around. I'm guessing it might be in the, might actually be in the same area, I'm not sure. Median and mode. So the mode is just the number. Oh, sometimes there's, like, if you have a data set where there's, so you can find the median, even if there's an even number of, so like say we have this, well, I have one more number here, 15. We want to find the median of this group of numbers. Now we don't have 7 anymore, there's no middle. Right? We don't have middle because there's 8 numbers. So here in the middle, we have 7 and 8. The way we would find the median in this situation is we would average these. So 7 and 8 divided by 2. 7 plus 8 divided by 2 is going to be 7.5. So that would be our median age in this situation, right? The mode is the one that's repeated the most often. Very often, this data set will have a number that is repeated more often than anything else. That's actually very true for our situation. Our mode is the one that is repeated the most often. In this situation, it's 13. So the mode of this room is 13. There is no mode in that one right here, and that's perfectly acceptable. That happens occasionally.
I need help on 9 through 11.
Okay.
I do too. Well, see, the thing is I
Nine is
have a very
Yes, I was going to talk to people about these.
small grip on this.
Is it
before,
9?
and I don't have
Number
it.
9, 9. That's what I have for you.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Okay. Let us work this out.
Actually, it has to be interactive because it doesn't have. You can't.
Well,
I don't know why, but I think that's what it should be interactive, but I think it's zero.
all right, so here's what we do. First things first, is we just factor the 27. All right? So we start by factoring the 27, we get 3, we get 9, we get 3, we get 3. So basically, we can write this out, and we have that other 3 floating around from before, remember? So we'll write it out like this. 3, that's the other one from before. This is 3, 3, and 3. Now we're looking for a square root here, correct?
Yeah, so you end up with 4,
So look at this.
2 3s.
That's
A
not.
set of 3s and a set of 3s.
Yeah.
So we
9.
just, we factor out, and it winds up being 9, because 3 times 3.
Yeah.
So the answer for that one is 9.
Okay. Now, for 10.
For 10, you're going to wind up with the same
I have
situation, except for
18.
here.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. 18 is correct. Because you multiply those roots together. Basically, the deal is the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is obviously going to be 3. The reason for that, well, think about it like this. What's the square root of 4? Right? Times the square root of 4. Now we know that basically we can solve this out. We can go 2 and 2, and that equals 4. The reason that works is a square root is simply the reverse of this. Right? So a square root is simply saying if you were to divide me by, like, you would split me into two equally divided parts, that'd be something else. So if you multiply by exactly the same thing, it's going to kind of cancel out that. So you multiply a root by a root that's exactly the same, it's going to come off.
So is 11 3 times the cube root of 12?
Yes. All right. Other things. Was there something else that there was a real struggle on? Oh, I want to talk here. I want to go back just to a little bit briefly of review from yesterday. So if I have an equation that looks like this, what do I know about this equation? How would I graph this? What are the two things that I know?
You know, negative 2 is on the y-line.
So this is the y-intercept. Yep, -2. And what's my slope?
3 over
Positive or negative slope?
5.
So I can go like this, 1, 2, and my slope
Up 3,
is
go up 3, and over
that. 3, well, call this 1 over here. Up 3 over 1. Right. All right. Good. Those are fun because they're easy. When they're looking at mean, median, and mode, you will sometimes have to, I think they have, they want some things around with the nearest tenth if you have to round it. Well, if you do 236 today.
Does that mean it's going to be decimal?
Yeah. The nearest, the 10th place is this one right here. This is the 10th place. All right. Questions, comments, complaints, struggles? You have a grip on it? All right, Leah. Is there anything you have a struggle with? Well, it's going to be easier to nail it down now than later. Might as well figure this out. It's going to come out at the same score as yesterday or worse, then we're heading down the wrong track. We got to straighten something out.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This one, I boil over this one. So this would equal 1 for x squared.
Look at the board where I can see it.
Yeah,
What is it?
I did a lot of scribbling.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Where was it again?
ID boys going on there.
What was it?
All right.
15c.
Can you do me the equation?
35 minus 2x squared. Oh, yeah, equals 2x squared. Minus 4 plus x times x.
Okay. Order of operations is
Multiplication.
multiplication first.
And
So, multiplication is, what is this equal?
x squared.
X squared. All right. So now we'll just simplify a little bit. 35 equals 2x squared minus 4 plus x squared. All right. So now let's combine what we can. Simplify
So
the
it'll be 3x squared.
right? So 35 is 3x squared minus 4.
So plus 4. Both sides. And then 35 by 3. 13 equals x squared. And right hand, which doesn't get. So square root of 13 equals x.
Good job. get there for you. So Dad wanted to buy one that was $160, and he wanted to buy a $70 one. So the question is, how much more does the better quality tools cost?
The question is whether those are bonus or whether
Yeah.
it doesn't. Or which one it is.
This one right here. I don't think it's
Like that.
you know, like the other one. 10, 12, 10, 149, 99%, the other 12. So switch it.
Actually,
I noticed. That's what
I did that.
Yeah, I love the most of that. Something else on the calculator. Around that 100%. These things up here, you're sort of like this you got. Good job. This I didn't. So this is 8 minus 8. Yeah.
Mr. Kent, what would happen if you swallowed one of these magnets?
Just
Well, you don't want to do that.
Why not?
It'll pinch your gut together and perforate it.
What if you only ate one?
If you only ate one, you'd die. But
What?
if you ate 3 of them at the wrong time, you might not.
So if you just ate one, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
Reggie.
This is an interesting one on 2D, by the way. If anyone wants to sit down. What's the answer to
Mr. Kent, it comes
see.
through faster the more you put on. That's all I was expecting. The more you put through,
I didn't expect that either.
the more you put through, it goes faster.
What do you have for D30?
Um,
QD?
C, or wherever the letter was. Yeah, that's what I have.
Okay, so remember we talked about this before, I think. Have we ever talked about C to 0?
seriously, you write C to the 0?
No.
Is that what it's supposed to be?
No.
C to the first.
No.
I'm just
Well, it's 8 minus 8, so 8 minus 8 is 0, right? We understand that. But the thing, I thought we talked about the fact that if you have an exponent of 0, the answer is 1.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it always is.
Always has been. The other thing to think about is like this. So here we have two numbers that are equal over each other.
So the answer is
One is 1. The answer to 2D is 1.
It's not C.
No, it's not C, it's just 1. Alright, one other one. So this one right here is not even good 12. It's just 4 minus 12. Yeah, it's a negative. Yes, sir.
So another thing I look. So this is about the size that you put in, right?
Yeah, that was a little longer probably.
Okay, well, I'll see you. This?
Sure.
Okay. Well, let's get maybe a really long piece.
Well, and maybe that's why my big coil blew apart. Rather than, like, maybe if I would have had a smaller coil, it would have actually done it better.
Lost. That's how much of that. It's not that many. It's about how much I use. And then I just need one. Look. So you have the normal one. Try the, so you have the normal one. So watch how fast the normal one goes. So that's the normal.
Mm-hmm.
And they think, oh, well, this one has lots more magnets. It should
It'll
go.
slow even better.
Yeah.
It's faster.
It's fast.
Put a single in.
Put this one in.
Genius. It's right there. I'm trying to get
You want to go really, really serious on this, huh?
If you put one in, it goes super slow.
That is really cool.
Like, it does not come out for a while.
It just goes in and thinks about life.
Yeah.
You're like holding up on top.
Doink.
Look at Josh. I've never seen that before.
Let's try 2. Because that might get closer to the walls. Is it coming one day or no?
Okay, time it. See whether 1 or 2 works better.
Alright. Need a timer.
As soon as it, well, do it when it hits the ground. So
Okay.
I'll do it at, I had it.
Gotta find my clock.
Oopsie.
I never look at it except for in the morning whenever they want to. Everyone wants to wake me up. Alright.
Okay, so I.
1, 2, 3, go. 3.33. Look, like.
Oh my goodness. Okay, where's,
Here's 2. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Identical.
identical? It's completely.
3.3, but I'm not going to argue over 100.
It seems like this one takes longer. I already let it go. Try here, time it. 1, 2, 3, go.
Okay, we're upwards of 6 seconds.
I just shake it. Yeah, come on.
What? How did it get stuck in the middle of that wedge?
I don't know.
You might have gotten the wedge sideways. Okay. Hang on. Yeah. No, play it late.
It don't come out.
It's obviously stuck.
That thing's like
I don't think that's a fair
80 light years to
contest.
get out.
All it's doing is getting wedged in there. You can see it. It's like this.
Yeah. So,
Try it with 3, maybe. These things are annoying. They make your hands feel like bamboo spoons are being pushed in there.
okay.
These are so fun to mess with.
3, go.
Did you miss it or what?
Actually, plant these things all the time. They were stuck in our desks.
1, 2, 3, go.
280. So that was slower. I mean faster.
Okay, try
So one is definitely slower than. Hey, who tipped over my camera?
Okay, let's try 1 again. Go.
Yeah, that was like 3-3 again.
I like to take forever for it to
If
come
we could
out.
only get 2 to play by the rules.
Well, yeah, but so then 3 is running at 280, which is considerably faster than 3. I mean, than 2.
Okay, try 1 again. Or 2. The problem with 2 is the village. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
353. So 2 is slower. 2 is slower than 1.
It's 2 much slower, but I think it's just
But it might just be
getting
getting wedged.
But you didn't even shake it that time. It went straight through that time.
I know,
maybe
but
it is.
still.
It still might be getting
I'm just
wedged.
gonna go hold it.
Here. There.
Yes, if you look through it.
Check this out. But I'm gonna put a light underneath.
No, you can see it just by going like this. If you go like this and just look through it, and you drop it, you can see it bumping against the walls and wedging itself and stuff like that. Just try it. You don't even need to be light.
It just swirls and does and carries on.
Yeah, but like
It's hilarious.
3 or something.
You get them stuck all over the place.
So what about, let's try like 3.
Try 3, see if that's
Or what's the difference?
You know what that's you just have to get the numbers. It sounds, once you get it.
And your computer's hot.
You just did it work.
Oh, like you just.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little faster, it seemed like.
Warms up pretty fast.
They figured it out.
I've never had a phone. Oh yeah, I have had a phone do that. One of my old phones.
Okay, well, let's see.
Oh,
what's
yeah.
on
It
yours.
was like, I was on survival. I was like, he was in my way, or I was going somewhere, and he was like, he didn't get out of my way. He just started throwing me up in the air.
I think we'd be
And he
almost
killed me.
at all of our
I was
hours
so-
by the time G got
Because it was like this really that I got, and I got a couple right by me, went down into almost into the temple. What's that even on? Rock River Villages. And then he killed me. I was so mad because I was like so rich.
Okay, so one pretty
Cross
much,
survival. I was like
one
so
pretty
rich.
much just, it doesn't just fall through. It goes to one side and sticks to that one side while it falls out.
What kind of bird is that? There's something out on the swing set. Yeah, it was there earlier. It's like a kestrel almost or something.
Only 10.
It almost looks like a small island.
Only 10.
Alright. Feel free not to lose my magnets.
What about the something here?
They're expensive.
Yeah, but then
It's like $30 for this little.
They're on Amazon. I found them for pretty cheap, actually. Amazon is it, right? I thought so. Really good stuff. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is cheap at this time. They're so fun. I don't know why it is. I could play it.
Maybe not one. We got 2 on Christy's birthday. We got like 3. Yeah, we had 3 on Christy's birthday.
3 which?
3 copies on Christy's birthday last week. And then mom got them.
Did we actually do the quiz? Are you sure?
We did the quiz
Because we were ahead for a bit,
this week.
Well, you're just taking the whole. You could like stick that whole rock thing on there. See how long that comes. That's probably very.
You can become 1 6, but you're talking. Yeah.
Is it recess?
We already had like a short math lesson. It sure felt short.
Everything went relatively smoothly.
Is that our time?
No, it's not good.
It looks like it's at 10:30.
My clock says Oh yeah, the hour hand's whacked up, yeah, for sure.
So if it's a negative one, you have to go the negative way.
What?
On number 6.
Negative what?
It's a negative slope.
So you go down, so
I went down. And then maybe you have to go this way?
then you go.
To the left?
Just make sure that the line is going in a negative way.
It doesn't really matter which way you present it.
Well, it doesn't matter, no, as long as you,
As long as it's going-
as long as it's a negative slope in the end, and you use the right numbers, yeah, it doesn't really matter which direction,
Well, my numbers are right.
up or down, so.
I didn't like my reading.
Say again?
I didn't like reading lessons sometimes. I like reading lessons.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Why are they putting stuff that we learned like years ago and I don't even remember it now? Where's it in? The transitive and intransitive, I have no idea. I don't even know what that is.
Transitive?
Transitive verb means it has a
That's a receiver. Intransitive has it.
right, intransitive has no
That's
receiver
hard
for
to
the action,
remember though.
but transitive has a receiver, so it has direct objects and possible indirect objects, and the intransitive doesn't. So like if an example of an intransitive verb would be like I walked, right? That's intransitive, there's no receiver for the
I
action.
walked into the wall.
Mr. Kid, don't
But if I walked it off, yes, then that's transitive. Say again?
Don't we have a quiz?
No, we did the quiz before Christmas vacation.
Please.
Really?
Yes, I have a grade for it.
Okay.
It just seems like that should slow down.
Yeah, it was like hardly any.
Hey, put like a couple in, and put the,
Go
and
that way.
no, not like that. Put like one or two in the thing, and put the tube around at the same time. And should they slow each other down, Mr. Kid?
Well, let's stick to the side so.
Oh, yeah, that's all that happens. It just sticks to the side and holds them to
That
pinches.
really slows it down.
Yeah, that's about as slow as you're gonna get. I reckon.
You debunked it.
When you're pretty sure it's still in there. Yeah, the law of gravity is just useless. Oh, this thing is pretty cool. It actually self-rolls. Check this out. So if you unstring it, it'll roll itself up.
Okay, that is pretty cool. How long does it fitness?
because if you know there's a first one for you, then you know it's that. Yes, that has a name. I don't really see what that is.
It's kind of tall first grade was often as that has two.
The median?
So you're at 88 and I got 1 to 11. It is a short lesson.
Jace got one problem done by last recess once. Didn't he? Something like that.
The whole day?
Or maybe it's just the new part.
2 and 3
She was-
had.
That was only Monday.
Yeah.
No, it
For
was
what?
before that.
Maybe it was the whole new part. It was like just the new part. He got that done by last recess. And Miss Mara was not happy with him.
I mean, I don't even blame. I don't either.
You said 2 and 3?
I mean, I do kind of, but.
I mean, it was kind of his fault, but the greater part was Miss Mara's fault.
I don't even remember that.
I don't remember anything in her room. I just.
I remember Jay said go by the door.
Yeah, that's literally, I remember that.
I
And
don't
then he jumped out and she gave him a mark. I was so mad. She got mad at him. I
She
was
gave
so
us
mad.
marks
We
like
all
they
went
were-
and ended up
Two
getting-
different numbers, top right, right, no top.
But they didn't
Her
talk
giving us
about.
marks, you know.
Yeah, it's 38 and 299.
And when you laughed.
If you laugh, you
Oh, I didn't even do that. I think
Mine's
that
not
was
even
such a
right.
funny classroom review.
What
No,
would
it
have been?
wasn't really.
Miss Mara's?
Yeah, I wish I could have watched it. That was hilarious, but
It
Well,
was
like,
hilarious,
it
but
wasn't- It was
miserable.
actually kind of funny because we were all just so bad.
I know, that's what it sounds funny. That would have ticked me off after a while.
I wouldn't have wanted to be in that.
I
class.
would have wanted you guys to just be nice.
we just did stuff.
We actually weren't that bad, but when we would be bad like once, she would just be mad for the rest of the day and just be mad at us. We
Well,
wouldn't have to
Jace
do
was,
anything.
Jace, like, he was mean to Jace.
She had me.
She was mean to Jace, and Jace, one time he did something bad, but he didn't know what he did. And Miss Mara said, Jace, no more talking, and put a mark on the board. And Jace was like, what did I do? And she put another one on, without saying anything. He's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah,
And
like-
poor Jace just got like 15 marks.
I didn't even shut so mad after a while.
Well, after I think he was just trying to make her write another mark then.
He figured it
That's
out.
like the other day when your mom and dad tell you to be quiet and then they ask you a question and you're not sure you're supposed to talk or not. Like, shall I answer? You're just like,
Or not.
Generally, yes.
I told you to be quiet.
And then there's a question.
So number 20 and 21, don't even supposed to graph. Number 21 and not even supposed to graph. Maybe just graph it.
Find ordered pair solutions. No. Didn't say graph. I just find ordered pair solution. Here goes there.
You just do the whole thing.
Yes, sir.
That's easier.
Hmm.
do a 4. On that one, it's 2, negative 2x plus 4, and then it's
It's what?
4 plus x. Y equals negative 2x plus 4, and you're supposed to use 1/4 as x.
You're supposed to use 1/4 as x?
Yeah. You just have them all as 4.
No. This is your slope, eh? 1/4? Negative 1/4. Oh, that way. 2x plus 4. Use 1/4 as x. Yeah, just substitute, so it's 2 times 1/4. So what's quarter, what's the quarter? Well, yeah, I suppose you also just multiply the whole thing by 4 as well. I see what's going on, yeah.
So then negative 8 plus 16.
That was a lot harder to write ordered pairs for than it is to, would be to just graph for sure.
That one would be a hard one to graph before.
No. No, because if it's by the x, then oh yeah, well, no, not really. If you have 1/4 x, then that's just a 1/4 slope. It's a very gradual slope. So I couldn't remember exactly where that reference was that I read this morning. And so I looked it up. There's one verse that I wanted, or one phrase, circle of the earth. One of the articles that pops up is this. That's the Biblical Flat Earth Society. Notice how, circle is not a globe, and then there's the pillars of the foundations of the earth down here, going on, and water above the firmament, and below the firmament too. Apparently, seems like. And then we have north, south, east, and west, but east and west goes around in a circle. And who's in the middle? Hang on, I want to see who's in the middle of the earth here.
That would be.
Oh, that's just the North Pole. Genius!
So there's not a South Pole.
Nope, no South Pole. That's a myth. And then the moon and the sun just go hingity, 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 around and around in circles. And then there's also windows and doors of heaven.
Yeah. Oh, so
You can
if
see
you go
the
high
windows
enough,
and doors. If you go high enough, you'll get to the
go
windows
high
and doors of
enough, you
heaven.
get to heaven.
Let me see.
See that? You get the windows and doors of heaven up here. That's why space travel isn't real. That's a good diagram. Yeah.
Just gotta go high enough. Oh, the sun is like not very far above the clouds.
No, it's right there.
So jet fighters are on there and planes that go higher.
Absolutely. That's a bunch of lies.
Yeah, they just. That's just.
That's about
Penguins are mixed. Penguins are
They don't
mixed.
exist.
They don't exist. They're from
No?
They're not Antarctica. They're mixed.
One of the questions that a teacher has to answer when he comes and when he gets interviewed is, are you a conspiracy theorist?
here.
Yeah.
Are you? They asked if you're a conspiracy
Who asked you that question?
That's funny. Probably my dad.
Steve, I think, was asked if I was a conspiracy theorist.
What did he say?
What did I say? I said, well, I believe that people landed on the moon.
Have you ever?
They had that in question in the beacon in the
The
battlefield.
reason you can't just see ships
And
out in the
By the
air
way-
is because the ocean is like curved.
Yeah.
So they were gonna show these flat earth people faster and faster. So they took a boat with stripes. They had this big
It's time for
boat
recess,
that
by
had
the way.
stripes.
Yeah, I know, that's what Dad
And
said.
so they
It was
went. So they went, just started growing out on this big. All the flat earth people.
And we're gonna go outside today, I think.
Stripes just started disappearing one by one. The lower ones would disappear. And it's just a heat. Well, it's a heat, then they have to make this.
Thing is, it's
see
very
the other part of the
predictable.
boat Pretty easily.
So
It's like,
there's a mathematical
there's a
equation.
waterfall.
There's a waterfall, yeah.
As
A
you
massive waterfall. That's where it's right off the edge of the earth.
basically,
There we go.
as you
Yes, is the earth flat? No, we just went right back off the stage.
Who did?
One of the, back to Genesis or whatever it's called. Something that has to do with Genesis. He had to give a speech about why is the earth round. And so he walked up onto the stage and asked, is the earth flat? No! And walked right back off.
Well, hey.
So the thing is,
cut the
it's very predictable if you, as long as you're on hills, what the curvature of the earth is. It's 6 feet per mile squared. So if something's a mile away from you, it should look, basically 6 feet off the bottom of it should disappear. If it's 2 miles away from you,
Well,
then it's out. No, it's squared. It drops away way faster. So at 2 miles away, it's going to be 36 feet.
But where is the Earth's surface flat enough for that?
The ocean.
The ocean.
Pretty much just the
It's just
ocean.
the ocean.
That's
Or
how
like
they do
a
it.
dry lake bed, you can kind of get, pretty close, but then you have so much heat shimmer and deflection, it's hard to tell. Anyway, we're gonna go outside for recess as well. Christy, what we're gonna up you up to?
What are they playing soccer?
Yeah, are they supposed soccer with the whole thing?
Maybe. No, looks like they're playing Foursquare. We have to go outside. I don't really care what we play. We might be able to, if it dries off a little bit over lunch, we might be able to get the big game of soccer.
It's whole school.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Genius.
It's cold out there. It says do not swallow. Wonder how easy you can bend this one. It's like so wimpy. Yeah, you can bend it pretty easy. I just bent it.
Gentlemen, you're inside when you ought to be out.
Well, is it inside? You know, pretty much.
Uh-huh.
What else do you need?
No.
I use the same ground.
So far as algebra.
I like that. Pillars of the Earth. Fountains of the Great Deep. What's this? Is this supposed to be hell?
What's that one?
Sheol?
I'm not sure what that is. Probably.
What?
This is about all I can figure out, but boy, that's just very odd.
Kind of a weird perspective.
Why are they trying
Yeah.
to convert people to that?
Well, there's always a group of people that are uncomfortable with being the same as everybody else.
If the other people are right, then I'm kind of
the edge. Or plonked against a glass something. Kind of disproves any of that.
Just a simple fact that there's pictures from space can disprove any of that. That's alright.
Well, Mr. K, if they believe that the Earth is flat, then if you fall off the Earth,
Where are you gonna go?
where are you gonna go? start orbiting the.
Oh, maybe straight to hell.
Orbiting the atmosphere.
Probably just fall into hell.
That's kind of what it seems like. It seems like if you walk through the windows of heaven, then
You fall
That's
off
good.
into the earth into hell.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's last time I turned over a fishing boat.
Never. You can never trust those guys.
That's why we say you're on. Wait, no, we don't say that. Like,
It's a very interesting perspective to people who simply wish to be different.
They
Of
just
course,
wouldn't be
if
dumb.
Mr. Walter was talking about this one guy. And you guys probably know, and I have no clue who it is. But yeah, that's one of his arguments. Is I can't remember. I have to talk to him. There's also I should get my wife to send me that meme. It's just perfect for these sort of situations.
That one?
Say what?
The one where there's the platters and all the other planets around him.
Yeah.
That's the golf course.
No. It's basically something getting
Like,
bored at.
the world is round.
I'll have her
What
send
were
it.
you looking?
Definitely.
The brilliance of that doesn't escape him.
Yeah.
So brilliant. Especially
Maybe
for
it'd
the
be uneasy.
Midwest.
Oh. Don't catch it.
I don't. Oh no.
Who was throwing?
Mark. We used to play Spud Mr. Walter, he was making up more rules. In our shop, we used to
Mr.
play
Walter
Spud.
just makes up rules as he goes.
In our
No,
shop,
as
we
the
play
game
Spud.
to
Make the game like easier for some people or
Harder
you'd be
for
a
others.
great politician.
Yeah. He sits there and just massages the rules till he figures everybody should be having fun.
Like
It's
I-
actually
if they're
hilarious.
not-
It's hilarious to watch, to be real honest.
at our shop when we would play it. If you
Oh,
knew
but
someone
that-
that enter was gonna get you, just run into the hall so they couldn't get you as easy.
who is this?
When we would play Spud, we just run all over the place and never stop.
I know.
Yeah,
But
that's
it
because
was Mark one time threw it up and said Michael and Joe kept.
Nikolai Joe.
Whoever, however you say that name, and we just started running.
we never even stopped. We just kept on.
That was
Yeah,
he was
Miss
the
Mara
most
was
popular Spud player out there. We always get it. Or we yell, LeBron James.
What about
Miss Mara
You were
would
a
pick
joy to
up
have
the
her
ball and
students.
come back.
And I'll be like, whoa, he like that. He didn't stop.
Yeah, so.
They would always get rid of your letters into the machine.
I have
Yeah, we actually
of
do
that. Of that.
And you got through as fast as you could because then they could get you as many times.
Assembly would start pinching and stuff. It was actually kind of funny.
Who is
Who
that?
How can you pinch on the way through?
You can if you're fast.
Lightning relaxes.
Did she bring us to do the patty machine?
Is
Well,
that the
sometimes
game that you
we
do
could
up in
choose. We
Paris?
could choose. if we wanted to.
So this is the patty whack machine. What was the other option? You're out.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
your outlet?
Yeah.
Or we could like clear.
I don't remember
Or
that.
if you didn't want your letters.
We would play whistle microwave and then where the stove, the heat from the stove came out.
Oh, we just.
We'd just sit by there, just huddle there and.
Around the school, like on the back.
Yeah, and you put, I would get
Because we had
a,
to play outside.
I would get a wheelbarrow, I would get a wheelbarrow and shield it from the wind. Put it on the outside so they couldn't see.
If you had enough people, you could hide under the people.
Yeah.
What was our teacher
like
here like falling because of all these clothes we put on? You legit could outside even.
What?
Mary said she'd follow Trent around because of the smell of his clothes and then she could catch him.
Oh, yeah.
Serious?
What is this?
Strength isn't all it is. How you
You must
smell.
have done a lot.
Didn't she count
on
one time?
Audie counted 40. But
Where was she?
he was in the guest room. She was out.
That'll make your eyeballs water. All right.
But every time he opened his door, it all came out into the rest of the house.
Wow. Dude,
Who is this?
Trent.
Oh.
Hideous.
You
I don't think I've ever finished one in my entire life.
Probably 20.
So there's that.
I finished one that's like that big, but.
Mom got Dad a perfume thing for their wedding that he was supposed to use at their wedding, and he just used it up like a month ago.
How many years have they been married?
A lot. 14.
You know, often what happens is I just get sick of the smell and then I huck it.
Mom and Dad have been married.
I think
years
years
ago.
like if I don't put it on, then like you do that thing when you light it or you press the thing, you can just jet of flames.
One thing that is terrible, and I hate with a passion, is Axe body spray, so there's that. All right, moving on. Lesson 9 for reading. Maybe this is one from Bible school.
Why do you hate it?
I mean, I think
imagine 40 guys in one place using it all at the same time.
Well, I like the smell, but
It
if
would be
it's
worse
used
than
too
the
much,
cold
it's just
one.
like terrible. Like you can actually.
Well,
stink
like
if
when
it's
you
too
walk
strong.
into a room and you're afraid that anybody will spark something somewhere. Like you're afraid to turn the lights on because it'll spark and blow the whole joint up.
Seriously?
Then you know it's
Oh yeah, it was too much.
That would be kind of entertaining.
That'd be really fun.
I would not want to be in that room.
Yeah.
Turn the light on and run.
Well, there's always the one guy. You know
And
how
everybody else is
guys-
going to read awakening.
You know how guys go in there. There's always the one guy that smells bad and everybody tries to compensate for him. Life is just rough.
Oh, did you know from experience?
I wasn't the guy that smelled bad. I was actually an innocent bystander when they hucked him into the shower.
That would be very humiliating.
No, but
There were some
stands
gentle
up.
recommendations to go take a shower beforehand.
And the guy just
And
wouldn't.
he was
But, you know,
somehow.
it's-
Well, like
it's
seriously,
There was another guy.
Was he
That's
just being
gross.
a
Going
jerk?
down a complete
No, no, no.
stranger.
Was he just being a jerk?
Well, I don't. He was an odd man.
Was he homeschooled?
Yeah.
Okay, that.
That's it.
Apple cider vinegar.
Oh.
Ew.
Like he just used that for everything.
Ew. That's
And
kind of
it wasn't.
So that was
good.
That would sound like the kind of person that when you take a shower.
Well, and when he did, it smelled like apple cider vinegar.
That's gross. That's gross.
Yeah, shampoo.
I think
Mom's probably
Did
all
they just
Yeah.
pick him up and
Yeah.
huck him in the shower or what?
Yeah, basically. I mean, I didn't.
Oh, sure.
I was obviously.
You strongly hinted?
I would have definitely.
I'm sure you
I'm
had a
just-
mastermind behind it all, and people were performing for you.
Well, it was a group effort.
No, you picked him up and stuck him in the shower.
No, I did one time though fill a trash can with some snow. I thought that was a good shower.
That's mean.
It was much violence. Anyway, Bible school is entertaining.
You didn't have Bible school?
Oh yes.
Don't they get mad if you do?
Don't they have rules?
Yeah.
No. Also, I also didn't do this. There were certain people who, in the darkness of the night at 10 below, when did a party run in snow drifts up to here.
Did a what?
In their night clothes.
They went and ran outside.
Yeah. 10 below snow in here.
That's
in
just
Minnesota.
idiotic.
And obviously 20-mile-an-hour winds. It was genius.
Why were they out
I
there?
didn't participate. Well, because the boys' dorm was open for a snowbank. So what do you do? Even in the snow.
Why out there?
Remember you went to Bible school?
Which Bible school did you go to?
Sounds so hilarious. How long were you there for?
Well, that was during second term mostly. So
Were-
there's
were
for
you
second
there for all
term,
three
second term,
terms?
one term, and once and third term twice.
Did you like it?
I did.
Well, what Bible school did you go to?
Maranatha.
There's one medical school that's very conservative, and then at the end, they have the cup, a boy and a girl go into this thing and take a picture together.
I know, it's so weird. Like they conserved it for a long time, the whole house was and then
Then, yeah,
they
then
just
you
like toss
Boy,
all the
that's
values out.
Whatever.
What in the world?
Mom
So,
said
like,
that
third term
they had
thing.
a Bible school like that too, that she went to Mosiah or something. And they were just like, they would never play volleyball for boys
Yeah,
or
and
anything
I'm
like that.
Boys
And then they
volleyball
just-
games.
Yeah, they would-
Yeah, Mom said they would go and watch the boys volleyball games sometimes when they were supposed to. Watch it. Like through windows.
Is his good? Just hasn't been-
He's a liar. We haven't checked a single thing, so we're going to start doing it now on page 29.
But why were the referees just sitting over that
Yeah,
sideline?
exactly. All the referees.
That was that.
Let's take that.
Number 1 on page 29, in a group, all together. Number 2, during a flood, old Charlie had taken Tim by boat to the doctor. Number 3, Charlie refused to leave. 4, an uprooted tree had nearly overturned his boat. His horse returned back.
The two I have, you're both familiar with the river.
Sounds cool. Okay, take a half for that though, because it's definitely talking specifically about that experience with the taking Tim by boat. 5 is C. 6, the sound was a mighty overwhelming roar. Is an example. There's other, I mean,
It was
that's something
enormous.
good. So what?
It was enormous.
An illusion. Oh, yeah, that's good. Something like that. As long as, so yeah, because of his allusion to the Niagara. 7. An example, they could foreshadow the desperate struggle to save Charlie or Charlie's near death. Oh, yeah, they could foreshadow that struggle.
I have they were about to die. Percentage.
Yeah, that's roughly the situation.
Yeah, they were about to be washed away.
Mhm. All right. 8. The roar of the flood river. 9. Some examples. Tim took a boat to the cabin and convinced Charlie to come along. Charlie passengers bridge on the back.
Okay, so 9 I have him right, and 8 I have he was worried about Charlie.
What spurred Tim to action?
He was worried about Charlie.
Yeah, no, because the river was flooding. So yeah, we worked with
I
that.
have the flood hitting the bridge.
For not for 8?
8, yeah.
Yeah, that works as well. All right, number 10. Some examples. Tim and Charlie were taken home and given dry clothes and food.
I have Mother and Rosie showing up at the bridge.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, it'll work. 11. The radio announced that old Charlie's cabin had just washed away. 12. The Isle of Kua. I don't think that's how you say that, but that's how it's spelled. Q-U-E.
Is it Q?
Q-U-E.
Oh, cute.
Isle of Q.
Finishing the IQ.
13. Spring flooding had begun. 14. An example again. Charlie needed to be rescued, but flooding made the job difficult and dangerous.
I have, for 14 I have, he was worried about Charlie being washed away.
15. Man against nature. 16. The story has an integral setting, which means there's a setting inside, because the flood creates conflict.
And
Right.
it doesn't flood just anyway.
I said if there was no river, no flood, there would be no story.
Is it integral or backdrop though? That's one of the main things.
Integral.
You have to make
This
sure that
could
you have
not happen
integral.
in the Sahara.
So what?
I have 16, I have integral. It doesn't flood just anyway.
Yeah.
Like this story.
Oh. Well, yeah, so that's, but basically the deal is, so if it's an integral setting, basically that means that the setting is key. If you couldn't, yeah, you can't have the story without the flood, right? If it was backdrop, I mean, whatever else is going on doesn't really matter. Like, say if it's at this school or another one, it wouldn't really rip. You know, nobody would really care. It's the backdrop. It's not a big deal in the setting. So that's the deal. But as long as you have that is an integral setting, that's really. And then how do you know flood creates conflict? 17. I'll look at that. 18 is B, 19 is C, 20 is A. 21. Triple close. And Leo, what's your example? Huh?
Close.
That does not contain clutter plus, though. Okay, so mark your example word wrong with that one. 22 is with and together. Chris, what do you have for an example word? So what? Confide, yes. That's a good one. 23, curve, to run. Richard, what do you have? 24 is allegory. 25, irony. 26, symbol. 27, iambic.
What was 25?
Irony. 27 is iambic. 28, anapestic. 29, trochaic. And 30 is dactylic. 31, shun instead of welcome. 32, ample instead of limited. 33, en masse instead of separately. 34, reimburse instead of charge. 35, incur instead of lose. And 36, evasive rather than direct.
It could be direct too. Yes. No. Yes. No. That's direct answers. That will also
Well,
get
no,
people
honestly,
to
yes
think
and no can be evasive as well.
that- There's that direct.
No.
Yes.
Did you pour snow on me in the shower? Well,
I'll give you an evasive answer.
so it wasn't not me. 37. Have we from him who loveth God and his brother also?
I have a lot wrong.
Yes.
Ezra was being a jerk, so when he was taking a shower, I picked the lock on the bathroom door and went inside there and threw the water cold and he was facing the other direction.
Yeah, I did that at college
And he
once,
came,
too.
and he was in the response, and you know how it takes a little while for the water to change. And he was just sitting there and I was like, wait for it.
So each point is worth 2 points in this situation. Yeah, we've done similar things on account of, well, we could turn our, we go down to the basement and just turn off the hot water in the shower. Not slowly, just turn it off. I mean, obviously, you don't want everybody to wait around or get out before they get a good soaking. There again, there's people who shouldn't do that to.
What did the guy who did it do back?
Well, the trick is to not let them know it's you.
I know, but how can you pour snow on them? And
Oh, him? I thought you were,
Yeah.
well,
Because it seems like all you have to do is look up. Or open the shower.
no, you be pretty careful to make sure he's got his hair full of shampoo so his eyes closed.
That's even worse.
And then you get shampoo.
So then you could just get out.
Oh, that didn't bother me at all. Later it did. Well, he got people to help him.
No.
What did they do to you?
I was repaid 3 or 4 for it. It was pretty miserable. It was, so I had just thrown snow over. He took a bucket and filled it with snow and he put water in it. He had 3 buckets and put water in the snow. Oh my goodness. I deserved everything.
If you have, that's even worse if you have your hair full of shampoo.
And I tried to
Because then you should open your eyes. Like, ow.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's what you cheat to get on.
Well, there was another thing we did, which was also just as bad.
No.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that now. We'll
Yeah,
talk about that later.
I want to hear what you did. Yeah.
All right. So, literature. We must talk completely of. Hang on. Where did my literature go? Thought I had it. Ouch. I didn't. Help me understand. Ha! Is that it?
You didn't grade my pen and chip.
I didn't see it. You or Leah. So if
There you are.
you have it,
I have
the book didn't come in, so I
My
didn't
book?
bother looking.
Can you just give me a grade quick?
Alright. Good, so you're in second.
Hey, Mr. Kent. Mr. Kent.
Yes.
I pretty much did the outline already.
Yeah. So it shouldn't be too hard.
Do I have to rewrite it all again?
We'll cross
Everything-
that bridge in a minute.
Everything.
We're gonna talk about something else with somebody else first. Alright, so for literature, that lesson 11, why don't I have the actual answer key? I have something that says answer key, but doesn't have any answers in it, so it's useless. Well, I couldn't have mislaid it that far over Christmas vacation. Yeah, I probably could have. Probably laid it farther. All right.
I didn't send my outline.
Say what?
I just write the date for today's why I didn't my outline.
Yeah. The date is often more of a generalization than anything else. I'll just use it to make sure that I'm not looking at something clean. Reading that. It's also not what I'm worried about. Well, all the cotton picking things to lose, that would be it, wouldn't it? Was nowhere else. There's no reason for me to have taken it home.
What is it?
Literature.
Your easy grade?
No, literature answer key. I got nothing. I'll have to look for that another time.
On that stack?
Nope. I just pulled that whole entire stack up. Ah. That's stack.
No, we can do grades because
All right. Well, I'm a winner, basically. All right, so that outline, the initial one. How come each of these have something? Because. So, number one, self-equal fault Saul, and then assets to be admired in Saul: splendid physique, modesty, a great friend appointed by God.
I never had those in
I was hoping for those to be in order, yes.
I have 2 and 3 in order.
Okay, what am I gonna do it this way? I'll do half a point for each to be over under the, that way I can give you more points. So half a point if they're under the right heading, and then another half if they're in the wrong order.
Okay.
So if you have,
They're like all
yeah, that's really unfortunate. Yeah, that's really inconvenient. I'm pretty sure I said that though.
read it again.
Alright, splendid physique, modesty, youth, a great friend appointed by God. When do you have
Okay, a
that?
great friend is in the 4th one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't actually have 2 ones.
Okay, so kind of 1 point off. So section 2, partial obedience, lying, or refusal to confess sin. What?
they're in the same one. I have all of those in that same section.
Oh yeah, basically, refusal to confess sin or lying, those can be, B and D can be switched around. You have lying and then refusal to confess sin. So those can be either order. D is insincere confession. And number 3, outcome of Saul's foolishness is godlessness, wretchedness, envy, visit to a witch, defeat and death by suicide. And then I will check your outline, I want to see that, and then sequence. 3 is B, 4D, 5B, 6D, 7E. 8 C, 9A, 10D. And hand your books in, I'll take care of that outline when you're ready. Mark how many you have wrong. Yes,
Can you help me fix this?
possibly.
So
you got?
these are reading anymore. It's causing all kinds of problems.
Ready. All right. Now, Leah, I wish to see your penmanship.
Here. It's in my book.
Oh. Yeah, I want those to be on a separate piece of paper.
Okay.
A little easier.
How many notes were we supposed to have? I only have like
Enough for 5 to 7 minutes.
I only have like 4 note cards.
Well, that's enough for 5 to 7 minutes, and we'll call it good. 4 to 7.
I'm just gonna add in a bunch of small words.
Units to be at the end, A and the.
It is a very, 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 very
bad. Yeah, that's not going to make the life.
Very, 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 very bad.
Alright. So let's go ahead, let's check lesson 7. The introduction to your speech. Everybody have your introduction, I'm assuming? And I see if there's an introduction, Richard and Leo, and then see yours.
What?
I have an introduction.
Yeah, you did.
I
You
didn't
saw
see yours.
mine.
Leah didn't see yours. Alright, so those sentences we mostly did in class for diagramming. And it says that where we are in our life right now, we're going to go to the two boxes. I may check them out later. Make sure you hand your books in today. For those of you who haven't. Alright, group 5. Most and was. Most is underlined, now it's a circle. 6, several and were. 7 is and anyone. 8, some and go. 9, just some is. Oh. Somebody else did that wrong, it's hilarious. 9, teacher, companion, and friend are underlined and was.
I did and Sullivan, so the teacher became that 3 wrong.
Tell that one wrong. Ann Sullivan, yeah, that's a hard one because Ann Sullivan in that one is being marked. What is Ann Sullivan in this sentence?
Answering who?
Right, to answer a question who, but what kind of word is Ann Sullivan? It's a positive, that's correct. That is kind of a tricky one, to be honest. I don't know if I would have made that mistake, but it is very interesting. 10. The whole thing's underlined, it's a simple sentence. 11. It's a compound sentence. Your two parts are Helen longed to have close friends, and many people were uncomfortable around the famous deaf, blind girl. 12 is complex. Your dependent clause, in brackets, is because they have been damaged, and Helen realized her surgically removed and replaced with glass ones.
What
Is your
was
independent clause, underline
the 11? What was it? Simple compounding
that.
or
It's compound. Because it's two completely independent clauses. All right, 13 will be. 14 has worn or had worn. 15 had run. 16 thought. 17 will have seen or shall have seen. 18 is cut or cuts.
For 7, she had what is it?
Will have seen. No. That would be the future progressive tense, unfortunately. But we'll go back and talk about that in a little bit. But it has to be will have seen or will or shall have seen. 18 is cut or cuts.
I have am cutting.
No. Fortunately not. And 19, spelling out every lecture is a participial phrase, and spelling is a participle. 20, graduating from Radcliffe with honors is your participial phrase, and graduating is circle. 21, this is half a point for each one. Helen's, Kate, Dr. Samuel, Powell, Charles Dickens, all circles. 22. Hammond, and then each. French, Greek, English. Why not math? Oh, it does not say. Oh yeah, no, not math. Math is not certain. 23. Helen and Little Lord Fauntleroy.
Little Lord Fauntleroy. Did you ever read that one? Dumb.
Who's boring?
It sounded
It's
dumb.
stupid. It's about this little boy who is absolutely perfect in every single way.
Yeah, that's-
24. Cambridge School, Young Ladies Ed Chamberlain's Wrentham, Massachusetts. 25. 1. Helen, Latin, William Alexander, Ladies Home Journal, E. 26. Great War, World War Ands.
Why Great War?
Well, because they didn't know it was World War I when it happened. It's only
Okay.
after the second one starts and you can call it World War I and II.
Okay, well,
A little presumptuous.
So they just called it.
so at number 22, I circled typewriter too. Like P.
Ah, yeah. No. That'd be like saying, Toyota car. You wouldn't capitalize car. But you would capitalize Toyota. Alright, 28. Yes, what it is. Adept with an E. 29, uninterested. 30, distract. 31, physical. 32, assent with a C. 33, relapse. 34, capital with an A. 35, formerly. 36, disapprove. And there's two P's there. Disapprove. 37, adapt. With an A-P-T. 38, assent, two S's. 39, disinterested. 40 anecdote, 41 capital with an O, 42 fiscal.
So is it 2 points if you get both switch? Or like
Yeah. 43 detract, 44 elapse, 45 antidote, 46 formally, 47 disprove. Formally,
Okay, so
that's
Mr.
A-L-L-Y. Formally.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is the difference between uninterested and disinterested?
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually a really tricky one.
Anyone
They-
besides extremely geeky English major will just use those interchangeably.
Not necessarily. Disinterested. I think they actually did a good job of showing the difference here. So they wanted a disinterested person to resolve this dispute. I know I've used disinterested incorrectly before. So disinterested doesn't mean that you simply aren't interested. It means you have no, how do they say that? You don't have any skin in the game. That's what disinterested means, generally speaking. I think the meaning of the word is somewhat morphed to mean I just not interested at all. No interest in whatever scheme it is you're hooking up today.
Well, what's uninterested then?
Uninterested is I'm just not interested in your speech, I'm not interested in your marketing tactic, I'm uninterested. Completely, absolutely, couldn't care less. Maybe I could, but I'm not going to show you that I could. I couldn't care less. That's what uninterested means. Disinterested means I don't, say we're in the stock market and you buy into, I don't know, crypto of some kind. And whatever crypto it is you bought into, I don't know what it is, and I'm therefore disinterested whether it goes up or down. Doesn't bother me. I don't care because I don't have any money in the game. So whether you're complaining that it went down or whether you're just happy that it went up, I'm disinterested. I'm not going up, I'm not going down. I may not be uninterested.
Uninterested is like,
I may be like, that new cryptocurrency that Richard's into.
so uninterested will be like, I don't really even care that you did that.
Yeah, I don't even
But
care
this
that
is-
you have bloody nose or whatever.
But disinterested is like, you have a bloody nose? Something like that.
Basically. It's not my nose, it's your nose. All right, 43. Oh, no, this is those are, we're going to call that, we'll just call those 1 point, we'll call it 100 points to start out with. And remember that 21 through 26, those are a half point per marking. And outline.
If you have a half roll, I think on the end of it, you have enough for the
Move around up. All right. Outlining your speech. So, if you have, here's the deal. I was going to say if you have it kind of outlined already in your notes and not going to do it again. That's not true because I want you to relook at your outline using this lesson. All right, so outlines are used to keep your thoughts organized. So when we were at home, I listened, there was a visiting preacher at the church that I went to. And he was one of those people that said that he doesn't take notes. And he didn't. He didn't preach from notes. And that's fine. There's some people who can do quite well with that. But the one thing that I walked away from is that I really actually didn't know what he was talking about. By the time he was done speaking, I was a little confused what the main point of the sermon was even about. Because it seemed like I could have had 7 or 8 main points, and none of them really were articulated that well. I know I also do kind of the same thing if I don't have notes. If I have not put enough effort into preparing something I want to talk about. So I want you to write an outline. All right? Following these steps. First of all, Well, here, let's go this direction. The point of an outline is to give a logical pattern to the thoughts you're putting together and to the words that are coming out of your mouth. You want a pattern to be logical so that people can follow along with what you're saying. So, first things first is you list your notes and ideas. You should have them, or you have them on note cards, as I'm assuming. And this will make your organization much easier. Make sure you do enough research. If you don't have enough research, I guess it was going to do some more. But remember that we're looking for this thing to be for 4 to 7 minutes. If it was less than 4 minutes, we're going to set out points. Honestly, shoot for 5, so it doesn't have to. The first step after you list all your notes and ideas is right there. Eliminate anything that doesn't pertain. So if you, for example, are going to talk about gold mining in 1849, you wouldn't necessarily talk about the train that, them building the train system in the east. That makes no sense to have to be linking the railroad system in the east to the gold mining in California in 1849. Those things are completely separate. You knock that out. Even if they were happening at the same time, we're not worried about it. All right? So those are the kinds of things you have to be able to look at and be like, even if you want to talk about that piece of information, you have to be like, well, that doesn't pertain to what we're talking about, so we're going to chop it. Decide which ideas are your main ideas. You probably have already done this to a certain extent, but make those your headings. All right? So you're going to have about 3 points, roughly 3 or 4. You can have more. I wouldn't have like 7. I wouldn't have 2. You want 3 to 5 points probably for your main points, and you will make sure that those are listed as your main points. Those are going to be if you look at your outline, those will be the ones with the Roman numerals 1, 2, and 3. All right. Underneath that, you have subpoints, and you group them under your main headings. If they don't fit under one of your main headings, get rid of them. You don't want to talk about them if they don't fit under one of your main headings. You don't want a PS at the end. That's unnecessary, useless. And then decide which ones are going to be subheadings. So we're already down to, we have our main headings and we have our subheadings. All right? So we have this, and we have our subheadings, which are A and B, and then we have our supporting details, which are 1 and 2. So you don't necessarily need supporting details for everything. So we're talking about the gold rush mining methods. All right? We have placer mining, and then we have this one, shaft mining, for sure. And the shaft mining, blasting and drilling. 2 different methods.
So do you have to
These are supporting. If you have one, you need a second one.
a second?
If you have one subheading, you need a second subheading. Or right. So if you have an A, you need a B. You can have a C and a D, it doesn't matter. But you can't just have an A. And if you have a 1, you need to have a 2. That's the format for an outline. Alright? So you can't just have one supporting detail, you need to have 2. Even so, if you have, basically you kind of look for an opposite if you can, or a secondary method or whatever. And if you don't have one, then you just kind of drop it. And you can use that information that you have, but you don't need a secondary, you don't need the 2 notes for it, right? So if we only have a 1, here we have a C, and we only have a 1, which is, I can't think of another one right off the top of my head, oh, camping. In the streams, right? You're not going to go to a lake to go panning. So this is kind of a supporting detail that doesn't have a second. You know what I'm saying? There's really no other place, there's nothing else, there's no other place to go panning, particularly. So we just kind of zip that off. And panning is just our 3rd method. And you might just kind of have to go off of memory for that. All right. Arrange them in a logical order. Logical being a little bit up to you to decide what that should be, and make sure.
Okay, so
you have
after
an
A and
explanation.
B, then you go 1 and 2. What if you have points for the 1 and 2?
Lowercase a and b.
And then you can do 1 and 2 first,
Yes.
and then
Then a and b.
And then what? Then you should
And
stop
then you
making
should
points.
just stop. We don't need subpoints at this point. Actually, I would say very seldom should you go this far.
that's like the dad
Yeah.
only 3 main things, but 100. So,
Anyway, so I would recommend putting this outline on a piece of paper. I want you to write your outline. You can present it basically because I want you to have practice. So when you present your speech, you can do it with the note cards, or you can do it with your outline. Okay? I don't care which way you use.
Mr. Kent,
I want you to write an outline on a piece of paper. All right? And I want that thing, I want it to be neat, and I want it to be legible. I want you to be able to speak off of it if you want. I don't want there to be scribbles and doohickeys. If you have scribbles and doohickeys, basically you wind up just writing it again. Like you sort it all out, lines and things. It shouldn't take too long. It's not a long operation.
but I
You get to the
have
end
to write it
with-
all out.
You write it out, and if it's all scribbled up, which it probably will be,
No, like right here. You have to go off this. You have to write it.
you have to write out your speech. Oh, you-
That would be okay, yeah.
oh, it's not right.
I didn't even want to write out my speech.
It's easier that way.
Mhm.
It isn't.
That's all right. You write out your speech, but I don't want you to read it word for word. Yeah, you don't say you have to write it. Yeah, write it out. Tomorrow. Okay. But yeah, that'll happen. Anyway, I do want to have, so basically the deal is, when you give your speech, I want to have a copy of the outline. So your final outline, whether you speak off of your outline or off of your notes, which is acceptable. Basically, your outline and your notes need to be very similar to each other. It needs to be well constructed. If you read off of your note cards, which is fine, I'm going to have your outline and I'm going to be grading off of that. But yes, we'll be writing it out. Looks like tomorrow. Okay. Any questions? No, also there's a conclusion today. The conclusion is basically the summary. Those are the main points. And just kind of caps them off, makes them, brings everything to an end. And your conclusion should be pretty much what you're going to say. We're good? Sounds about right. All right. English. How's your research going? Notes, things.
Okay, for the notes, it kind of confused me. It didn't say something else with the.
Are notes supposed to be
Yeah,
like dots, or are they just like?
Because then you have to go do something else. Make note cards for your speech, including the outline and.
Okay, so what we're doing here,
So it's so confusing because I don't know what
Well-
to put down.
so you have your notes, you have your notes on your cards, all right, with your references. You're not going to be speaking off of your notes particularly the way you have them. Your notes, what they want you to do is they want you to use your notes to be able to organize your outline. And then you have your outline.
Usually you do your outline to organize your.
Right. That's kind of what's going on. But you can shuffle through your notes. You basically, you just get a bunch of notes and have them together, and then you sort them out and decide what's first, what's second, what's 704.
So if I do history first, that's like
then all your history notes should be first. Organize your notes according to your outline. You decide your main points, categorize your notes and details. If you use note cards, which you should. You basically place your cards in 3 or however many stacks you have. So however many headings you have, put your cards in those stacks. Right? So put them into you have 3 main headings, put them into 3 stacks. You have 4 headings, put them into 4 stacks. Or put them in the chunks you're going to have. And then write an outline. Following the same rules we just went over here. Well, we need an outline. So, and they want you to have the introduction and closing in the outline, which is a little odd. Not a big fan of that, I guess, but do it this time.
Introduction. What time, what?
They are not writing out the introduction and closing until tomorrow. Also, so it looks like your
Really close to doing it.
your speech, no, your speech isn't going to happen on next week, Tuesday or Wednesday. On account of you're supposed to make a visual aid and then read a speech, and then
You're supposed to read it.
read a speech, yeah.
Like inner speech?
No,
Lesson 14 to give the speech.
Lesson 14 to give it, yeah. I think that's to give you time to make a visual aid. What that 13
What's
so
a visual
the visual aid is, we'll talk about that another day. Yeah. I will have some slides for you. Anyway, so you know how to set up outlines like that.
Yeah, but I only have 2 note cards to work on. I only have 2 note cards so far.
And you better get some more.
So if this doesn't match up with this history, what if it doesn't match up with this history and that history?
Decide what
You
you
see
want to write.
this one there?
Or you can use both histories and be like, okay, so this is a contrast I found. I don't know what the difference is. But here are, some people believe it's this way and other people believe it's that way. It's a completely possible, logical way to set it up as well. Hmm? No, just got that. Use, I'm assuming.
Okay.
You just coil it up and then join the ends together and then just be like continually spin up in there. Genius method.
Why don't you?
Cool.
So, like, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to use this stuff in my.
What are you struggling with exactly?
Well, I have a lot of stuff here, but I'm not sure how to put it in my outline. It's like, it doesn't really fit in my outline.
So you either have to make a heading that will fit under, or else you have to dump it. Because it doesn't fit.
Well, I don't want to dump it, 'cause it's a key part, but like.
Okay, well then you have to find out where it fits. You either have to find out where it fits or make a place where it fits.
Do we give our speeches on the same day?
No. You guys are gonna be here on Friday, and they're gonna be on like Wednesday or Tuesday or something. Yep.
So Mr. Kent, so say I have, okay, so I have like Roman numeral I, and then I have A, but I don't have a B, then I have 1, 2. Can I do a 1, 2 under A? Like, just basically what I would do is just basically cross off B, and then I have exactly like this.
Yeah, so the thing is, though, then you need to be underneath that. So basically what you have is a subheading, all right? So, here's another way to think
Why
about
do
it.
they make up so many rules?
So basically, here's a main subject, all right? We're gonna split this thing into chunks, all right? We're gonna split it into chunk A, and then chunk A is kind of a smaller chunk. We're gonna split this into A and B. Now, the thing is, A can't just stand alone. We're gonna split this into 1 and 2. So we have to have a B,
Why?
which we can split into 1 and 2 if we want to. We don't have to. And we can also have a C, which we can split into 1 and 2.
I don't have a B.
All right. So here's the thing. Think of it. Let me think. How to explain this? 'Cause this isn't working exactly. So you can have. So you have your main idea, right? And now you have your topic, or topic 1, we'll call this. And underneath your topic 1, you'll have A, which is, it describes topic 1, we'll call it subheading 1. All right? To describe subheading, heading 1, we have detail. So this detail 1 describes that subheading, and so does detail 2.
Yeah.
But then I don't have a B.
If you have one, you need to have a second one describing this one.
But then I don't have a B for A.
All right? So then here's the thing. So you don't have a B for A, then you either need to find one, or else you need to move it up the stack.
B.
So if you don't have a B, then you need to, then basically it needs to be topic 1. It's kind of what it boils down to. Or you can just have your subheading, you can just have your details as A and B. If you don't have a B, you need a B for your A, all right? Which is also described in topic 1.
Why?
And so would C, you'd be describing topic 1. If you're going to be changing your topic, then you go to topic 2. All right, so basically it just gets more and more specific. The farther this way you go, the more specific it gets. How would I explain that another way?
I understand it. I just can't do it that way.
Like, it's not gonna work for all of my notes.
Oh, it works for just about everything.
Like,
So the important thing to remember
they're facts about basketball, but
well, here's the deal. One thing you can do is you can split up your notes into 2 details, right? So you're talking about basketball, right? So movement, right? Or let's say, yeah.
it's not.
Here, let's go like this. So we have basketball as what we're, that's what we're talking about. Rules. All right. So one of our rules, one of our sub-rules we're going to be talking about in the list of rules, we'll have a movement. All right. What are some rules about movement? So we have to be dribbling. And do we have anything else? We have to be dribbling or else, or maybe there's a couple other rules surely we're looking.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take more than 2 steps out.
Okay, so here's the second part. Can't take more than 2 steps. That's kind of a sub thing. All right, so now we're kind of walking through moving for now. We might come back to anatomy later. So we'll start at B, shooting, right? We can talk about a few different details here. We can talk about, well, you can't, for the faking out rules or whatever it is, like you jump, you actually have to let go rather than turn on, correct? I don't know much about basketball. I'm pretty close to it, to be honest. Faking or, point systems. We talk about 2 and 3 point shooting. We talk about free shots. 2 points.
Well, my notes aren't really like that.
I'm just this is what I'm giving you examples here. I don't know what your notes are. I have no clue. I haven't looked at it for this very reason. Free throws. And then we can have another set of, we're going to go on, we're going to make a C here. We're going to call this fouls. All right, so this is another set of the rules. These are all things that are under rules, right? And, under fouls we can have a list of, I don't know, whatever kind of fouls or out-of-bounds rules, whatever, I don't care. You put down what you need. So now, we're done with rules. So rules could be, this could be the second part. We could start by talking about a first part, rather, that's, popularity or history. We could talk about the history of basketball as number 1. And we could say where it started. That could be A.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned it.
Right, so where it started. And, if there's 2 places it kind of started up at once, I don't know. You can talk about the Mayan Indians or whatever, it was kind of roots of that. You can talk about, the history and how that all worked together. B, you can talk about who started it. Who started this. So, you can talk about the people. You can talk about the organizations.
Just forget, so I'm just adding something in that doesn't even really, it makes the speech worse, but I have to add it in.
Okay, what is it? So this is what I'm saying. So history is kind of a big main point, and then you go through your list on history. Here we have our rules and our gameplay. You go through your list on that. Make sure it's kind of in a logical order. And I would say probably history first. Go ahead.
Right here, so I was going to do how do I use determine. So then I have the first page should be my subpoena and 2 subheadings that one thing about myself. First, that one click on and then just add about the company's starting value. Like every company is $1 million. So one stock $1 million, $1 stock, something like that. So, but then, yeah, that doesn't really have anything to do with that.
Well, so that's kind of something maybe you should throw into a different category, right? So we can say, so we have our starting value, which is, well, we're called when a stock goes, what do you call it? Public. So when a stock goes public on the market, that would be, and maybe you could talk about who determines it. That might be who decides what that worth, what it's worth. Is it a company itself? That's usually how it starts, correct? Because the company decides they want their shares to be worth this much, and they have this many shares. And after that, the price either goes up or down, depending on what the investors think.
I don't have anything.
Maybe you can find something in the encyclopedia. Can't say you couldn't figure out who did that. Can you figure out, yes,
What's a perimeter?
perimeter
Yeah, I watched it.
of what?
It just says of a picture.
Perimeter of a picture?
So that just, okay.
So like if you have a perimeter of a square,
What is,
the perimeter of a rectangle is the distance
what's
around it.
the, formula for?
B equals C L plus C W.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you said we have to have, or, the number 1 and 2, you have to have 2 of those?
Yes. The thing is, if you don't have two supporting details, you can either leave it at, you can either leave it or you can merge it into your main point. Or whatever. That's very possible for you too. It's not against the rules. But the thing is, if there's 1, there needs to be a 2. And if there's an A, there needs to be a B. It's a very strong rule.
Why are there rules about how people?
Well, you know why there's rules is because if there are no rules, nothing is done logically.
Mr. Kennedy, can you put, so I have something about brain freezes in here. Would you put that with facts about ice cream? Or,
Maybe you should have a heading about how it affects your body.
ice cream?
Ice cream and health.
No,
Subheading 3.
Okay, Mr. K, in there,
Yes.
they don't have anything that I need, they don't have like anything, like there's nothing.
Ah.
There's nothing like good in here that actually helps me or anything.
So,
Should I just skip the how it began?
doesn't have anything on the U.S.
Nothing about how it began or anything.
Surely does. Well, it has the history of navies.
Yeah, but like,
Navy.
I guess, should I just do it right when the name started with that word?
Department of the Navy, United States Navy.
Yeah, that's the one we
We
made.
have here history, the earliest colonial warships. That's the section you want to read, but make sure you have notes about this. If you have notes, you can't just go straight into outline from this. You need to have notes, you can't just go straight into outline.
Well, cause I don't like have any notes, I didn't know we had to do.
No, well, that was yesterday. Yes. It was there. It was definitely a part of the assignment. We need notes.
So you have to do that.
We need notes, yes.
Mr. Ben, how did I do this if I'm basically telling a story?
Well, if you're having a story,
Well, but it shows, it's like a story that shows whatever, it goes in order of what happened and why it happened.
so basically you're saying it's like a history thing, or
Yeah, it's under history.
So, I would kind of set up my outline chronologically. If you're talking about history like that. So you go kind of by order of time. All right? So basically we'll just set up subheadings, starting from oldest. And if you want details, you can throw them in. I don't care. And then, next. And so on and so forth. how I would set that up. Maybe under details here you could say why it was developed. Or, you know, who. Why and who are good questions to answer in your details.
It's not foreign.
Corinth?
Foreign.
Foreign. Foreign.
Like foreign.
No. Well, kind of close, but no.
It's like, yeah, I don't know how to take notes. It's like,
So notes. Basically, you wind up looking for things that are going to be points or details. So you should have something kind of developed a little bit in your head, right? So what are you're talking about navies. So you're going to start with a set of history, right? So you're going to start looking for history notes. You want to know when it started and who started it and what the systems were. Talk about the privateers I saw. You know, you should mention maybe in here about the privateers. What are privateers? You know, so here we have privateers. And here again, good questions to answer in the details are why and who. Why were privateers the way that it was originally set up? And who ran the privateers? Who decided that something was a privateer? And then, you know, first commissioned ship. Is a good next. That's a good next one. And so on and so forth. And then, so now we're still in early history, and then we hit some middle history. We should cover maybe, you know, some of the kind of moderately modern wars, like even the war
what
of,
don't say,
like even the Rebel or the Civil War, right? And maybe another thing could be, and the impact it had on the Civil War. You could even have things like World War I and II. And some of the advancements, and then some modern ships, if you wish. Some of the details about them, what they're capable of. How the Navy has changed. Like obviously, they didn't have aircraft carriers back in the Civil War. That was not a thing. You know, when did aircraft carriers come out? And when did airplanes start to become a branch of the Navy, or whatever? Things like that.
okay, it doesn't say what.
Big parts. Well, I'm just saying, look for details like that. Those are the kind of details we're looking for history.
Okay, so I got the earliest. So then you want to like, so the first one is history, then you go to the middle.
You just kind of set this up in a timely order, a chronological order, so that it makes sense to move from one to the other. And then, you know, you might want to go into more detail about modern ships. I don't know. I'm not, you know, what's your second heading going to be if it's not history? It could be,
So, yeah,
it could
but
be the
like,
command structure.
What would the middle history be like?
Command structure of the Navy is actually kind of another good one. Or maybe, you know, maybe it's not a third one. You take a third main heading.
Okay,
That
so
would be a good main heading to talk about. It helps to have these things in mind, like what are your 3 points going to be as you're talking about the Navy?
okay,
What are the 3 things you want to accomplish? And actually, you can look at your purpose statement as well. I remember it talked about history, something else. I can't remember exactly what it was supposed to set up to be, but you wanted to inform people about the history of the Navy, something and something else in the Navy, and those are the things you want to cover in your note-taking. See what I mean?
well, like I'm still working on the history. But so like in the Civil War, so like how would I do that?
Well, what were the ships like in the Civil War? How do they differ from today? Were they wooden? Were they steel? Were they titanium? Were they stealthy? Did they have Gatling guns? Yes, ma'am.
What's utilization?
Utilization?
Okay.
Give me context.
Two major areas of space utilization.
Okay, so utilization just simply means how it's used. So how people are using space.
It don't say
Probably
anything.
scientific and everything.
It don't say anything in here about that.
Well, then maybe you'll have to look up, you should look up Civil War ships, different, that'll give you more books to look through.
So like,
So Civil War, or, yeah, look up the Civil War and see if you can find anything in Sean's ships. I'm sure it has something going on.
would that be a C one right there?
Yeah.
C.
And one's Gracie and Gracie back in the South. Gracie, South.
So I didn't start my language lesson at all. Okay. Well, any time to do that?
Yeah. Trying to give everybody a little bit of time. So, like massage music a little bit. I have something I want to wait until next time anyway. So. I will make you better than that. Time for lunch.
Do you have any for this day, like you go to Boston for the wet day out? I don't feel like we should plan for every time to cook the food, but I really like food. And we just have that way, so it's really interesting.
Yes.
I think I could have better speech without the outline.
I did too.
Mine would totally be way better without it. Like the outline is just gonna ruin
The
it.
outline is the worst.
Well, just write the outline and then you guys are gonna run out anyway.
I'm just getting the whole thing off this because I have everything I want. This is perfect.
And then I'm just gonna write my speech sheet.
It's basically just
Forget my outline.
I'm probably just gonna write my speech and use my note cards. Because my note cards are everything I need. I think we do need the option.
You do need an outline, but you have the option of using note cards to speak from.